So good evening, and today we're going to look at page 78 and 79, exercise 2, grammar. And we're going to talk about used to. So, exercise 2 looks like this. Remember, it's between page 78 and 79. So let's have a look at exercises A and B, grammar, used to. Now, when you were at school, did you get a report at the end of every term or year? Now, were they usually good or bad? And did you always show them to your parents? Well, first of all, we have a little explanation. No? The school year, we talk is the curso académico, no? Is divided into 3 terms. No? We have trimestres. No? So we have the school year and the 3 terms. Now, if we look at question A, now, when you were at school, did you get a report at the end of every term or every year? Well, I think if I remember, I used to get one at the end of every term. No? Were they usually good or bad? Oh, mine were always excellent. Eh? And did you always show them to your parents? Well, I think they used to come in the post. So my parents used to receive them in the post, no? Que los mandaban por correo a casa. So I think my parents always used to see them, no? Now let's look at exercise B. Can you see? It says, read some extracts from Could Do Better, a collection of famous British people's school reports. Are the comments positive or negative? Now this is a very nice name, no? Can you see it's called Could Do Better? And what does that mean? Well, that really is a typical comment that teachers would write on a report, ¿no? Es un comentario típico que pongan los profesores en los informes, ¿no? Now, let's take a look at the texts. Well, the first one, can you see the first one here? Let's read this one first. It says, Kenneth reads well and expresses himself and is good at arithmetic, but everything he does is spoiled by his attitude and his bad behaviour. Now that was Ken Follett, no? Who's the best-selling author of The Pillars of the Earth. Now, do you think this is positive or negative? Well, I'm going to say it's negative, no? Now let's look next at this one. And you see, Princess Diana, she must try to be less emotional with others. Now again, I think that's negative. Now let's look at the bottom here. We have Winston Churchill. Can you see at the bottom there? We have Winston Churchill. Now it says constantly late for school and always losing his books and papers. Now, that's Winston Churchill, politician and Prime Minister. Now, during the Second World War, 1940 to 1945, and I'm going to have to say that one's negative. Now let's go up here to John Lennon. Can you see? He is a clown in class and wastes other pupils' time. Oh, that's definitely negative. No? Musician, member of the Beatles from 1960 to 1969. And then we have the last one, which is Helen Fielding. And it says, Helen must learn not to use such flowery language. Now, again, I think that's negative. And it's very interesting because she is, in fact, the author of Bridget Jones' Diary. You know? So she grew up to be an author. So I think all of these reports are negative. No? Now, let's look at exercise C. It said, read the extracts again. Match the people to the sentences 1 to 5. Right. KF, Ken Follett. JL, John Lennon. PD, Princess Diana. WC, Winston Churchill. And HF, Helen Fielding. Now, let's look at the sentence. Number 1. Didn't used to get to school on time. Number 2. Used to make other children laugh. Number 3 was clever but didn't used to behave well. Number 4 used to use very complicated vocabulary. And number 5 used to cry a lot at school. Now take a moment to fill in the gaps. Read the text again. Fill in the gaps because right now we're going to correct. Now let's correct, shall we? Here are the answers. Well, Winston Churchill didn't used to get to school on time. Well, he was constantly late, wasn't he? John Lennon used to make the other children laugh. Well, they say he's a clown, ¿no? Que es un payaso, ¿no? Ken Follett was clever, but didn't used to behave well, no? Helen Fielding used to use very complicated vocabulary, no? Do you remember flowery language, no? Como Florida, no? Flowery language. And Princess Diana used to cry a lot at school. So this is essentially what the reports mean, ¿no? So eso es un poco un resumen de los informes, ¿no? De estas personas famosas, ¿no? Famosas. Now, look at sentences 1 to 5 again. Now here, our focus is on used to, no? Can you see? So does used to refer to the present or the past? Or does used to refer to things that happened once or things that happened repeatedly? Now, okay, used to refers to the past and used to refers to things that happened repeatedly. So we have to mark in number 1, letter B, and in number 2, letter B, used to. Now, let's take a look at used to, shall we? So what do we need? First of all, we need to use used to or didn't used to if it's negative plus my verb. So here we go. Now, in the affirmative, we have I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. No? Used to is the same for all of the subjects. Excuse me, just a moment. Excuse me. Used to is the same for all the subjects. Now, can you see? It's for I, you, he, she, we, you, they, used to. No? And then I have my infinitive, play in the street. Now, let's have a look at the negative. And the same thing happens here in the negative. We have I, you, he, she, it, we, they, didn't used to. Excuse me, didn't used to. And be careful here because now when I have my auxiliary didn't, I need to use my infinitive of use, ¿no? So desaparece esa ed, ¿vale? So didn't use sin la de, used to. But again, we have the same form, no? For all of the subjects, okay? And let's look at our interrogative. Again, I need my auxiliary. Can you see? My auxiliary did. I need all my subjects. And then again, we use used to with no D, ¿no? Siempre que ponga el auxiliar did, ¿no? El verbo principal tiene que ser en infinitivo, ¿no? Very nice. Just to point out the form. Then we have our short answer. Yes, I did. Yes, you did, por ejemplo. No, we didn't. No, they didn't, ¿no? Repitiendo siempre el auxiliar, ¿vale? Now, let's open the grammar bank on page 144, please. Now, so here it is. So, let's take a look because we've got some examples. Now, can you see used to, didn't used to? Now, when I was a child, let's look at the affirmative first. When I was a child, I used to play on the street. My brother used to have very long hair. Let's look at the negative. Children didn't used to watch much TV when my father was young. My daughter didn't used to like vegetables, but now she loves them. And the interrogative, did you used to wear a uniform at school? Yes, I did. Did you used to like your teachers? No, I didn't. No? So here we have some examples, no, of affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Now, let's look at the use. Can you see here? We've got our use here now. So it says, use used to or didn't used to plus a verb to talk about things that happened repeatedly or were true for a long period of time in the past, but are usually not true now. Okay, so we use it to talk about repeated actions in the past, but also to contrast with the present, ¿no? So, además de hablar de las acciones repetidas o las situaciones repetidas en el pasado, recalca que esas situaciones son diferentes, ¿no? Que la situación actual, ¿no? Por ejemplo, if I say, I used to have short hair, I used to have short hair, pues ahora entendemos que no llevo el pelo corto, pero en algún momento del pasado lo solía hacer, ¿vale? Now, used to and didn't used to is the same for all persons. Okay, eso lo hemos visto, ¿no? en la tabla de interrogative, affirmative y negative. Now, used to, instead of used to, you can use the past simple with an adverb of frequency. Let's have a look. When I was a child, I often played in the street. ¿No? Eso viene a ser realmente él solía hacer algo, ¿no? Eso es esa acción repetida en el pasado, pero claro, que esa situación ya no sucede así. Ahora es diferente. Eso tiene esos dos elementos de las acciones o situaciones repetidas, pero claro, a la vez contrastándolo con la situación actual, ¿vale? Now, very important information here, used to or usually. Now, used to only exists in the past. So, esa forma, esa estructura solo existe para hablar del pasado. ¿Vale? For habits in the present, use usually plus the present simple. So, si yo quiero decir suelo hacer algo, entonces tengo que usar el presente simple normal y corriente y coloco el adverbio de frecuencia usually, por ejemplo. ¿No? Look, I usually cook in the evenings, ¿no? Suelo cocinar por las tardes, ¿no? Pero esa idea de used to es para algo que solía hacer. So, tenemos esa forma especial, esa estructura especial, pero solo para hablar del pasado, ¿vale? Now, let's have a look at the exercises on page, just a moment, I forgot to write the page 145, perdonad, page 145, let's write it. Now, page 145, so letter A says, look at how John has changed. Write 5 sentences about how he was in the past. No? Can you see? In the past and now, some big changes there. And letter B, make sentences with used to, didn't used to, or did, used to. Now, again, pause the video, give yourself time to do the exercise, because right now we're going to correct. So here are the answers. Now let's correct, shall we? Letter A. So he used to have long hair. Number 2, he didn't used to wear glasses. Number 3, he didn't used to have a beard. Number 4, he used to play football. Number 5, he didn't used to wear a tie. Now exercise B, 1 to 5. Number 1, my sister used to hate maths, but now she loves it, no? Number 2, where did you used to work? Number 3, I didn't used to like vegetables when I was a child. Number 4, what did you used to do during the summer holidays when you were young? Number 5, the British didn't used to drink a lot of coffee. And 6 to 10, this building used to be a cinema. Did your brother used to teach here? I didn't used to be a Manchester United fan. Number 9, did Jeff used to have a motorbike? And number 10, telegrams used to be a way of sending important messages. So that's all for today. Okay, thanks for listening.